It hangs upon the nail still, a rectangle of guilt, a border waiting patiently for the picture to be built and placed inside it. For years it held our smiling beach day faces, caught in a moment of oblivious embraces. But I took that photo out one raw and reckless afternoon, and now it's just an empty frame suspended like a moon in the hallway. This empty frame is a question on the wall. What deserves this space now? After the great fall, do I put in a landscape, something neutral, something still, or a portrait of my solitude, a testament to will? Leave it bare, a stock announcement of the void you left behind. Oh, this empty frame, it's a project for the mind. I can't complete. The glass is clean and shining, reflecting back the room, a phantom of a picture in the morning light and gloom. It shows the wall behind it, the same as it has always been. But now the view feels different, like a subtle, quiet scent of omission. The nail is strong, it can't support no weight, but my hands are weak with wondering and frozen by the fate of choosing. This empty frame is a question on the wall. What deserves this space now? After the great fall, do I put in a landscape, something neutral, something still, or a portrait of my solitude, a testament to will? Leave it bare, a stark announcement of the void you left behind. Oh, this empty frame, it's a project for the mind. I can't complete. Maybe the frame itself is now the art, the statement of the lack. To fill it would be to cover up the courageous, painful crack in the narrative. Maybe the empty space, bordered so with gold, is the truest picture of the story that can now be told. A story of removal of a center carved away, and the beautiful, awful structure of what's left on display. Just a frame, empty frame, nothing in the center. The sun slants through the window in a solid golden beam, a spotlight on the particles that populate the dream. Of this still room I sit here and I watch the tiny show of dust and mold just dancing alone with nowhere else to go. But where the current takes them, They swirl and rise and dip, a silent, frantic ballet from a sunbeam's fingertip. Oh, dust motes dancing alone, you are my kindred now, unmoored and ever moving, with no purpose and no vow to anything but chaos. You collide without a sound, then float apart forever on this holy sunlit ground. There you dust motes dancing alone in your gilded tiny strife. You mirror the quiet, frantic dance of my own inner life. One catches on a web and struggles for a breath, then breaks again to freedom, a tiny dance with death. And light another simply vanishes beyond the bright prism's edge, back into the uniform, a nondescript beige of shadow. I root for them, these specks of might have been, these galaxies of residue on things that once were seen and loved. Oh, dust motes dancing alone, you are my kindred now, unmoored and ever moving, with no purpose and no vow to anything but chaos. You collide without a sound, then float apart forever on this holy sunlit ground. There you dust motes dancing alone in your gilded tiny strife. You mirror the quiet, frantic dance of my own inner life. Maybe we're all just dust motes in a larger, stranger beam, caught for a second shining, part of a brief shared dream of connection. Then the angle shifts, the sunlight moves away, and we're just ordinary dust again at the end of the day. But for that moment dancing, I'll watch your show until it's done. My silent, sparkling companions dancing in the sun. Keep dancing. Dust motes dancing alone, I'm with you. A delicate waltz in 3/4 time featuring piano, a sweet melancholy violin. The music feels precise, light, and slightly sad, fading like the sunbeam moving away. It's worn in certain spots from years of opening and closing, a map of all the occasions of the love that was imposing. Is glitter on my life, each compartment held a tiny sun, a token of an anniversary, a battle fought and won, just a Tuesday thinking of you. Now the hinges give a sigh and reveal the plush and emptiness where all my treasures lie. In memory, this empty jewelry box is a museum after hours, a silent catalog of your diminishing powers. To make me shine, the rings are gonna change, they found new homes. The stones that caught the light are just like hypothetical gnomes in a story. Oh, this empty jewelry box, it doesn't hold a thing but the ghost of every I love you that a diamond used to sing so brightly. Cheapest piece of silly silver spoon on chain you bought me at a flea market in a sudden laughing rain. It's not in the box, it hangs around my neck against my skin, a secret humble reminder of the girl I was within. You left a practical and painful trade of beauty for a theft of future. This empty jewelry box is a museum after hours, a silent catalog of your diminishing powers. To make me shine, the rings are gonna change, they found new homes. The stones that caught the light are just like hypothetical gnomes in a story. Oh, this empty jewelry box, it doesn't hold a thing but the ghost of every I love you that a diamond used to sing so brightly. Maybe I'll fill it up again with things I buy myself, a rebellion and impulse, a freedom in a shelf of my own choosing. But for now the emptiness is part of the curation. It speaks of a once full, now broken heart. The valued sparkle, so I'll leave it open on the dresser top. A beautiful empty jewelry box where the loving had to stop. Just velvet now. Empty jewelry box, a case for close, a slow walking baseline and brush snare set, a late night jazz club vibe. The piano is melodic and thoughtful. The song ends with the soft click of a box lid closing. I found the play we wrote together in a college ruled notebook. The page is soft and yellowing, if you cared to look. We'd pass it back and forth in class and fill the margins up with dialogue for characters who shared a single cup of coffee in a future. The ink was blue and bold, the story of two lovers, infinitely brave and old in soul. Now it's just faded script, a ghost of who we thought we'd be. The characters are strangers now, to both you and to me. The passionate declarations have softened into gray. The plot twists we invented have all faded clean away. With time all this faded script is a palimpsest of them, written in a language I can barely read again. I try to read my lines aloud in the quiet of my room, but the words feel like a costume, they accentuate the gloom. Between the then and now, your handwriting, once so sharp and clear, is just a slope and gentle blur, a whisper in the ear of memory. We were such confident young authors of our fate. I know in life would come along and quietly negate our ending. Now it's just faded script, a ghost of who we thought we'd be. The characters are strangers now, to both you and to me. The passionate declarations have softened into gray. The plot twists we invented have all faded clean away. With time all this faded script, it's a palimpsest of them, written in a language I can barely read again. Should I try to trace the letters, make the story dark and new, rewrite the final scene for an audience of two that doesn't exist, or let it be this beautiful faint proof of a collaboration that was splendid and aloof from reality? Maybe the fading is the truest part, showing the delicate and permanent nature of the art of us. Just pencil ghosts, faded script, a story that the sun put down. The sound is in the hallway, on the gravel path outside, a rhythm I know blindfolded, a rhythm where I'd hide my joy, the cadence of your coming home, a specific solid tread that told the waiting world that you were back, that all was said and done for the day. I listened for it, perched upon the stair, the sweetest kind of music floating in the evening air. Now they're just fading footsteps, echoes on a dying breeze, a memory of rhythm that brings me to my knees. In silence I hear them in the rain, I hear them in the crowd of phantom percussion that's never quite as loud as hope needs it to be. Oh, these fading footsteps, they're cruel and tender reminder that I was ever a fool for that sound. I'll hear a stranger walking with a similar sound and shoe, and for a half a heartbeat my whole world will misconstrue. The date of my heart will leave a traitor to my brain, then settle back to sorrow, a predictable dull pain. As they pass by, the real footsteps are receding every single day, getting softer in the archives where my memories play on loop. Now they're just fading footsteps, echoes on a dying breeze, a memory of rhythm that brings me to my knees. In silence I hear them in the rain, I hear them in the crowd, a fan and percussion that's never quite as loud as hope needs it to be. Oh, these fading footsteps, they're a cruel and tender reminder that I was ever a fool for that sound. Maybe all love leaves an echo, an imprint in the air, a vibration that continues with a kind of quiet care. Long after the source is gone, maybe I'm not meant to stop hearing the ghost of your approach, the imaginary drop of your keys in the bowl. Maybe the fading is the gift, the slow, merciful release of that soul-shifting lift I felt when you came home. I can't hear them anymore. Fading footsteps, just a witness. I sleep in your old t-shirt, the one you left behind, a carton ghost of comfort from my tangled, tired mind. For weeks it held your signature, the soap, the skin, the sun, an old factory photograph of when we were as one. Breathed in, but washed by gentle wash. The fibers are betraying the memory they carry, the specific scent decaying to nothing. This fading scent is the last tether to your skin, a disappearing language that I am breathing in for the final time. It doesn't shout, it barely whispers now. A ghost of the man who made a vow, then broke it. All this fading scent, it's a slow and sweet undoing, proof that even memories need constant careful renewing, or they leave. I bury my face in it, a desperate nightly ride, trying to trap the molecules, to hold them in the night. against the dawn, but my own smell is overtaken, blending in. A metaphor too obvious for the loss I'm in. The midst of soon, and we'll just smell of laundry, soap and me. A clean and empty canvas, a boring history of one. This fading scent is the last tether to your skin, a disappearing language that I am breathing in for the final time. It doesn't shout, it barely whispers now. A ghost of the man who made a vow, then broke it. Oh, this fading scent, it's a slow and sweet undoing, proof that even memories need constant careful renewing, or they leave. Should I stop washing it, let it sour and decay, preserve the final traces in a permanent set way? No, let it fade, let the chemistry of cloth and air perform its gentle autopsy, leave nothing standing there but fabric. The scent was never mine to own or keep. It was a borrowed atmosphere, a promise buried deep in threads, now unraveling. One more deep breath, almost gone. Fading scent, just memory now. Ethereal guitars with heavy reverb create a hazy, dreamlike state. The vocal is soft and close. The song ends with a deep inhale and exhale, the music dissipating like a scent on the air. It used to be so clear to me, the way from A to B, the trail through woods behind our house that led down to the sea. Of our future, we'd walk it every Sunday, hand in callous hand, and talk about the someday house we'd build upon the land we dreamed of. The path was worn by our two pairs of feet, a promise etched in dirt and pine needles, so sweet and certain. Now it's a forgotten past, surrender to the green where brambles claim the passage and the way can't be seen by anyone. The markers we once left are swallowed by the moss, a testament to how we've been the most determined. Cross country of love can't be reclaimed. Oh, this forgotten path, it doesn't lead to oceans now, just to my own wrath and sorrow. With a clumsy, grieving heart, I fought through thorns that scratched my arms and played a painful part in my own undoing. I got lost within 100 yards. The landscape had rewritten itself, discarding all the cards we placed there. I stood in a thicket, breathing hard, and ooh, the for it again. Forgotten path, be at peace. They ask me what's the matter, and I say I'm doing fine, and paint my mouth a cheerful red and draw a steady line around my eyes. But underneath the color, in the undertone, lies a shade they never see, a color I have known. Since you left, it's not the blue of rain or of a summer sky. It's the blue of deep ocean trenches where the light goes to die in pressure. This is her deepest blue. It's the color of my soul's low tide, where all the shipwrecked dreams of us and we now quietly reside. It's quiet and it's heavy and it's beautiful in its way, a permanent twilight that has learned to call the day a stranger. Oh, this her deepest blue. It's not a passing you, it's the spectrum I am living in since I've been living without you. I try to mix it brighter with a memory of your laugh, but it just deepens the pigment on the grieving autograph of my heart. I try to dilute it with the white of new routine, but the blue is so resilient, a persistent royal sheen beneath it all. The colors how I see the morning sun. It tinges every conversation, every song that's ever sung with its notes. This is her deepest blue. It's the color of my soul's low tide, where all the shipwrecked dreams of us and we now quietly reside. It's quiet and it's heavy and it's beautiful in its way, a permanent twilight that has learned to call the day a stranger. Oh, this her deepest blue. It's not a passing you, it's the spectrum I am living in since I've been living without you. Maybe one day I'll learn to paint with it, to make the shade my art, to show the world that sorrow too can have a beating heart and a beauty for now. I wear it underneath my skin, a secret vast and oceanic world that I am in alone. Our deepest blue is both my prison and my sea, and I am learning how to breathe its cold, dark chemistry. Just blue, our deepest blue, an ocean in a woman. ask her how she's doing, and she offers them a smile, a practice small performance that lasts a little while. But when the door clicks shut, and when the world outside recedes, the smile falls into the chasm where her center used to be, and feeds the silence. It's not a hole, the hole implies an edge or rim. This is a vast interior, a landscape growing dim and boundless. This is her hollow, a cathedral carved from gone, the architecture of absence where she tries to carry on. Her voice echoes in here, a tiny lonely sound that gets lost before it finds a wall or even hits the ground. Oh, this her hollow, it's the place she truly lives, a cavernous expanse where only the memory of love forgives. And it doesn't. She fills it with distractions, with noise and moving light, but they're just fireflies in a cavern, swallowed by the night of her. The hollow has its own weather, a still and heavy air that muffles joy and amplifies the whisper of despair. On loop she's learned it's a cruise that she knows how far aside will travel before it dissipates under the internal sky. This is her hollow, a cathedral carved from gone, the architecture of absence where she tries to carry on. Her voice echoes in here, a tiny lonely sound that gets lost before it finds a wall or even hits the ground. Oh, this her hollow, it's the place she truly lives, a cavernous expanse where only the memory of love forgives. And it doesn't. Maybe one day stalactites of new experience will grow from the ceiling, and stalagmites from the floor below will reach to meet them, forming columns in the dark. A new internal architecture, leaving just a mark where the hollow was, but for now it's just a space of void and name. And she is both the worshipper and the ghost she tries to save. Just hollow. Her hollow, echoing, rumbling, sub-bass and ethereal, wordless curve, gurgling, sub-bass and ethereal, wordless curve, rumbling, sub-bass and ethereal, wordless curve, gurgling, sub-bass and ethereal, wordless curve. We drove up to the bluff side, a silent mutual thought. The engine cut, the world reduced to what the sky had brought. And so that evening golden rose, and a masterpiece unfolding, just for me and just for you. We didn't speak a single word, we didn't need to try. The ending of the lie was a language written in the sky. That was the last sunset seen through the filter of us, a final blazing benediction without any fuss. It painted your profile in a fiery gentle light, and I knew as I watched it we were surrendering the fight to the night. Oh, that last sunset scene, it was too beautiful to bear, a gorgeous slow goodbye, perfuming the cooling air. You reached and took my hand then, not a grip but just a press, acknowledging the moment and the coming loneliness. It held a sundered blower, a molten sinking sphere, and took with it the final fragile remnants of the year of our love. Then it was gone, and just the afterglow remained, a memory of color on the clouds already drained. That was the last sunset seen through the filter of us, a final blazing benediction without any fuss. It painted your profile in a fiery gentle light, and I knew as I watched it we were surrendering the fight to the night. Oh, that last sunset scene, it was too beautiful to bear, a gorgeous slow goodbye, perfuming the cooling air. I've seen 100 sunsets since, on my own in different places. They're technically as stunning with their own unique graces, but they're just light on matter, pretty physics in the west. They don't have the weight of ending, they don't put the heart to rest like that one did. That was the sunset that closed the book, the final radiant tear in the most beautiful nook of time. I still go back there sometimes. Just me in the dark. Grief has lost its sharpness, it's serrated, cut and nail. It's softened to a permeating light along the ledge of my awareness. It's not a storm, it's not a bleak dark night. It's a perpetual soft twilight, a gently fading light that casts no shadows, only coats the world in muted gold. A beautiful and quiet story that will never be told. vibrant day is gone before it arrives. It turns the familiar streets to dreams, and silence is the chorus of the loud demanding schemes of happiness. This morning glow, it's a tender, slow surrender to the beauty that can linger in the place you will not enter anymore. In a pearly sheen, it makes the dust most magical. It makes the silence mean something kinder. The pain is now a companion, not a thief. A source of gentle luminescence, a subtle sweet relief from the glare of moving on in this morning glow. I find a pace, a rhythm for a lifetime in this intermediary space. This morning glow is my atmosphere, my permanent, almost dawn. The time when night is leaving, but the vibrant day is gone before it arrives. It turns the familiar streets to dreams, and silence is the chorus of the loud demanding schemes of happiness. Ooh, this morning glow, it's a tender, slow surrender to the beauty that can linger in the place you will not enter anymore. Some people wait for sunrise, for the brilliant blue sky break, but I've made peace with this half-light for my own soul's sake. Maybe some hearts are crepuscular, most alive and in between. In the morning glow, where all the lost and lovely things are seen. Most clearly, it's not a phase to pass through, it's the climate I'm within. A soft and lasting aftermath, where healing can begin without ending. Just this life. This morning glow, forever almost dawn. My skin remembers yours, a cellular level map, imprinted in the silence, in the aftermath of us. I'll be just standing at the kitchen sink, and then a ghost of your fingertips will trace my shoulder, and I'll freeze. The sensation is so vivid, so complete, a perfect full body memory from my head down to my feet, and nothing. This phantom touch is the cruelest kind of ghost. It haunts the living nerves the very, very most. It feels so real, the weight, the heat, the slight and callous press, a neurological betrayal, waking dreams caress. Then it's gone, all this phantom touch, it leaves me aching, leaves me raw, convinced for just a second you were right here just before the void returned. It happens in the shower, water falling like your hands, caught a sunbeam where your arm across the land. The sea used to rest, my body is a haunted house where the ghost doesn't rattle chains but gently arouses. A longing so profound it steals the breath right from my chest. A mockery of comfort putting longing to the test. And winning this phantom touches the cruelest kind of ghost. It haunts the living nerves the very most. It feels so real, the weight, the heat, the sliding callous press, an neurological betrayal, awakened dreams caress. Then it's gone, all this phantom touch, it leaves me aching, leaves me raw, convinced for just a second you were right here just before you return. Science calls a phantom limb for a love that's been amputated. The nerves of firing signals desperately related to a presence that is missing. There's no pill to make it cease. This intimate, persistent, and obscene form of peace with the past. So I'll just ride the wave of each electric false sensation, a bittersweet communion with my own imagination's creation. I feel you, but I don't. Just memory playing tricks. Just memory playing tricks. They told me I was strong, with a heart made out of stone, a fortress of composure I had built up on my own. But you saw the material beneath the paint and glaze. You saw the fine white porcelain from those very early days. You held it with such caution, admired the crafted lace of patterns on its surface and the beauty of the face it showed the world. But a porcelain heart is a dangerous thing to own. It can't withstand the dropping, it can't be left alone. In a careless world it needs a velvet lined display, and hands that never tremble, come what may. You promised you were those hands, you swore you understood the weight of such a fragile, such a precious good. You didn't shatter loudly into a million parts. It was a hairline fracture, a crack that spider starts from a tiny unseen pressure. A word left unsaid, a weekend you were distant, playing games inside your head. With my trust the crack grew deeper with every silent meal, until the structure weakened and I started not to feel safe in my own chest. But a porcelain heart is a dangerous thing to own. It can't withstand such a precious good. You didn't, now I gather up the pieces, not to glue but to inspect the damage. Maybe porcelain was never quite correct for a life of bumps and tumbles. Maybe I'll rebuild in clay, something rougher, something earthier that won't give way so easily. Or maybe I'll leave it cracked and let the light shine through the broken places, making something beautiful and new from the floor. The delicate string quartet carry the melody. The music is beautiful but tense, ending with a high, glass-like harmonic from a violin that fades to nothing. Wasn't with a fireworks display or a scene of rage and might. It was on a Tuesday morning in the ordinary light. She just stopped clinging to the cliff face of his maybe, and his might uncut her aching fingers and surrendered to the height. And the falling wasn't like she thought it'd be. It was quiet, it was spacious, it was terrifyingly free. She let go, she stopped weaving his name into a daily thread. She let go of the future living in her. She let go of the apology she knew she'd never get. She let go, and in that space her own heart started to reset. Oh, she let go, and the world didn't end, it just began to look a different color to the woman that she am. She deleted the reminders, not with vengeance but with grace. A quiet, steady cleansing of that once cherished space. She returned his borrowed sweater without a note inside. No hook for conversation, nowhere for hope to hide. She canceled the reservations for the Sunday trip they planned, and felt the weight lift from her grain by grain of sand. She let go, she stopped weaving his name into a daily thread. She let go of the future living in her head. She let go of the apology she knew she'd never get. She let go, and in that space her own heart started to reset. Oh, she let go, and the world didn't end, it just began to look a different color to the woman that she am. Letting go isn't forgetting, it's not saying it didn't burn, it's just choosing to stop adding your own fuel to the urn of the past. It's taking your own hand and walking from the pyre towards a different unknown warmth, the different quieter fire. It's the bravest kind of ending, a surrender to the truth that the strongest love she'll ever have must start with love and Ruth. Ruth here implies loving herself, a play on truth in the name. And she's lighter now. They don't wreck the body, they don't shake the shoulder that's loose. They don't come with souls, there's unrecognizable excuse for stopping their seismic event deep under the skin. A convulsion of the spirit that the outside world can't win. A glimpse of the face stays calm. A practiced placid lake while underneath the tectonic plates of the soul begin to quake and shudder. These are silent sobs, they have no voice, they have no air. They drown in the salt sea of a soul in deep despair. The chest constricts, the throat burns tight, the eyes stay desert dry, while an entire hurricane of grief lives and dies inside a cage of ribs. Oh, these silent sobs, they are the worst. A private, perfect torture, a personal rehearse, and hidden in hell. You can have them in the supermarket lining up for bread, or in the middle of a meeting with reasonable things said by your mouth. The disconnect is absolute, a chilling skill ballet of normalcy on surface, while the inner child screams and prays for release. But release would be a flood, a breaking of the dam, and so the silent sobs continue. It's programmed as a hold them. These are silent sobs, they have no voice, they have no air. They drown in the salt sea of a soul in deep despair. The chest constricts, the throat burns tight, the eyes stay desert dry, while an entire hurricane of grief lies and dies inside a cage of ribs. Oh, these silent sobs, they are the worst. A private, perfect torture, a personal rehearse, and hidden hell. One day maybe they'll find a sound, a whimper or a sigh, and that will be the day the constructed person starts to die, and something real begins. But for now, silence is the shield that keeps the broken glass inside from being revealed to a world that wouldn't know what to do with it anyway. So the silent sobs continue every night and every day. No sound, just the shade. Silent sobs, a contained quake. It wasn't grand or cinematic, no moonlight on the sheets. just the yellow of the bedside lamp and the tired slow retreat of conversation. We run out of things to say that wouldn't hurt, so we just lay there side by side in the gathering dirt of silence. You turned to me, your eyes were soft and old, and you whispered it so gently, a story to be told and ended. That was the last goodnight, the final time you'd say those two small words that carried me into the next day. With hope it wasn't goodbye, not yet, not in that breath, but it was the good night that came before the quiet death of us. Oh, the last good night, it hangs in the air between every sleep well I've uttered since, a ghost on the scene of every evening. To bottle up the tone, the exact weight of your hand on mine, the feeling in the bone of knowing. I just murmured back good night and turned away to stare at the familiar crack that in the ceiling lay like a map. If I had known, I would have held you through the dark and made the last good night an everlasting blazing spark of light, but I didn't. Two small words that carry me into the next day. With hope it wasn't goodbye, not yet, not in that breath, but it was the good night that came before the quiet death of us. So the last good night, it hangs in the air between every sleep well I've uttered since, a ghost on the scene of every evening. Now I dread the nights approach, the ritual of closing down, because it always leads me back to that quiet lamplit town of lost. I say goodnight to empty rooms, to shadows on the wall, and the echo of your voice is the loudest sound of all in the stillness. That last goodnight was a door closing so slow, I didn't hear the latch click until I was alone in the dark. Good night, good night, good night, forever now. The orchestra swells with deep emotion on the final chorus and drops away completely on the outro, leaving only a single, solemn piano note that resonates and fades into silence. The fireplace is swept and clean. A gaping stone cold mouth in the center of the living room, pointing south towards where the sun should be. The great hole's only ashes, old and gray, from a fire we built together on a distant winter's day. I haven't laid the kindling, I haven't struck a match. Since you left, there seems no point in trying now to catch a flame alone. This sunlit heart is the heart of this cold, quiet home, a symbol of the warmth that's decided now to roam away from here. It takes two hands to build a lasting blaze, one to hold the timber steady through the smoky early phase, and one to shield the newborn spark. My solitary hand just feels the chill of marble and doesn't understand the instructions. I wrap myself in blankets, a poor electric substitute for the crackle and the dancing light, the living, breathing fruit of shared labor. The cat curls where your feet will rest upon the stone, and I stare at the blackened void and feel the chill down to the bone of my spirit. Some nights I think I hear the phantom pop and hiss of a fire that isn't burning in a memory's abyss. This sunlit heart is the heart of this cold, quiet home, a symbol of the warmth that's decided now to roam away from here. It takes two hands to build a lasting blaze, one to hold the timber steady through the smoky early phase, and one to shield the newborn spark. My solitary hand just feels the chill of my marble and doesn't understand the instructions. Maybe come spring, I'll fill it up with flowers or with books, make it a decorative feature with alluring pretty looks, but no function. Or maybe I'll just let it be. The sun escaping space, acknowledging the central cold truth of this place. Without you, an unlit heart is still a heart, a place where fire could be. It just chooses for now to mirror the stillness inside me. Just cold stone, unlit heart, waiting for a spark that's gone. Pulled it from the wall one night during a sleepless spell. The constant quiet ticking felt like marching in a hell of seconds without you. A tiny moving hand, a mockery of progress in the stagnant, dusty land. I placed it on the table, face still bright, but now its numbers are star. They don't claim to know the right time or place. Now it's an unplugged clock, a pretty silent liar. Its purpose hasn't severed, it contains no fire. to measure loss. It's just a circle of affected glass, a prisoner of the moment, letting all the moments pass without comment. Oh, this unplugged clock, it suits my new domain, where yesterday and tomorrow feel exactly like the same. Endless now. Endless now. Sometimes I watch the second hand, it gives a final stubborn jerk, then settles in a stillness, completing a strange work of stopping the digital display glows with a frozen 12:07, a time that meant nothing then, it means even less in heaven. Or here it's a sculpture of arrested motion, a tribute to the pause between the life that was and whatever unknown cause will start time again. Now it's an unplugged clock, a pretty silent lie. Its purpose has been severed, it contains no fire to measure loss. It's just a circle of reflected glass, a prisoner of the moment, letting all the moments pass without comment. Oh, this unplugged clock, it suits my new domain, where yesterday and tomorrow feel exactly like this now. One day I'll change its batteries, I'll plug it in the wall and let its tiny heartbeat once more measure my slow crawl toward a future. But for now, it's quiet as a kind of friend, agreement that for now, for emotion has to end and be still. In the silence of its face, I find a small relief from the tyranny of next and the anchor of my grief. And then no tick, no time, unplugged clock, frozen at the moment you left.
A detuned, slightly warped piano plays very sparse notes. The sound of any room tone or tape hiss is prominent. The track ends with the sound of a faint electrical pop, and then true silence.
I'd watch you from the kitchen while you stared into your screen, the blue light painting contours of a man I'd never seen. So distant I'd memorize the slope where neck met shirt and send a silent signal, hoping just to alert your soul to mine. But you were in some foreign land, and my unreturned gaze just felt like rain on barren sand, and vanished. An unreturned gaze is the loneliest conversation, a question posed to silence without anticipation of reply. It builds a wall of one-way transparent glass, where one heart sees the other, but the other lets it pass unnoticed. Though an unreturned gaze, it wears the look of down, turning a simple act of love into a thorny crown of thorns. I catch at you in a mirror. Sometimes and for a fleeting second, our eyes will meet in silver, and a fragile thread beckon between us. But you look away as if you've seen a ghost, or something just as troubling, something you valued most to avoid. And I was left there, holding my own reflection, alone in the cold glass with its perfect imperfection. An unreturned gaze is the loneliest conversation, a question posed to silence without anticipation of reply. It builds a wall of one-way transparent glass, where one heart sees the other, but the other lets it pass unnoticed. Oh, an unreturned gaze, it wears the look of down, turning a simple act of love into a thorny crown of thorns. Now my gaze is free to wander, to land on other things, the pattern of the wallpaper, the freedom that time brings from hoping. But the muscle memory is strong. My eyes still seek a face that isn't there throughout the day, throughout the week. Can't find only space. I'm learning not to look, not to send it. Tender silent telegram that came to such a dead and final end. I don't look anymore. Unreturned gaze, eyes forward now. Late night soul production with a warm Fender Rhodes electric piano, a steady bass line and soft drums. The vocal is intimate and pained. The song ends with the sound of a deep breath and a resolved but weary chord. I kept it in a vase upon the windowsill, so plain. A simple stubborn cutting from a plant I can't explain. The name of it wasn't much to look at, just a brittle greenish stem with two small clinging leaves that seemed to place their faith in him. And you, I'd water it each morning, a tiny act of trust that something small and fragile could rise up from the dust of doubt. But it's just wilted hope now, a limp and downward curve, a lesson in the patience that I didn't have the nerve to maintain. The leaves have given up their fight for light and air, and hang the brown and crispy in a silent sad despair on the sill. Oh, this wilted hope, I should've known it wouldn't last. The climate in this room was just too bitter to contrast to life. I haven't thrown it out yet, though it's clearly, surely dead. There's something in its persistence, in the way it bows its head. Without falling, it's a monument to trying, to the maybe and the soon. never came to pass beneath this cold, unyielding moon of absence. Its death was slow and quiet, not a dramatic sudden blight, just a gradual surrender to the absence of the light you took. But it's just wilted hope now, a limping downward curve, a lesson in the patience that I didn't have the nerve to maintain. The leaves have given up their fight for light and air, and hang their brown and crispy in a silent, sad despair on the sill. Oh, this wilted hope, I should have known it wouldn't last. The climate in this room was just too bitter to contrast to life. Maybe next time I'll choose a cactus, something built for a drought, something that expects the neglect and doesn't need to sprout such tender leaves. Or maybe I'll just leave the windowsill quite bare and let the sun fall empty on the polished wood right there. Uncomplicated, but for now the wilted hope remains in place. A quiet, honest decor for this solitary space. Let it be wilted hope, an honest thing at least.